Not all heroes can fight crime in the same way. Not all heroes have super strength, can fly, or have super speed. Some must rely on less conventional methods in order to defeat the big bads. And some of those methods and abilities that heroes lean back on are just plain nasty. And when I say nasty, I mean super gross, like does this look infected to you level. Who would even want to see that? Oh, that's right, you would! And I'm here to tell you all about the ins and outs of these superheroes' disgusting powers. So let's dig in and get gross together. Number 10. Mr. Fantastic. You may think Mr. Fantastic seems like your atypical golden boy type when it comes to his heroism and abilities, and for the most part, you'd be right. He is wicked smart and has used his intellect to outsmart villains and create technological advancements for all to enjoy. But beyond that, his truly superhuman ability comes back to his form. The plasticity of his body allows him to change shape and stretch. And if you're thinking that doesn't sound so gross, just look at these panels depicting his stretching abilities, or the effect of Skrull weapons on his elasticized form. In fact, the Fantastic Four's abilities are depicted akin to a waking nightmare in the attempted 2015 reboot of their film series. Number 9. Spider-Man. One of the most beloved heroes of Marvel, Spider-Man has always had abilities like the radioactive spider that bit him. Namely, he can climb walls, stick to ceilings, has spider sense, which, fun fact, is an ability that is inspired by spiders' abilities to sense danger via vibrations picked up by highly sensitive hairs, and Spider-Man can also shoot webbing. None of these seem particularly gross, right? I mean, maybe shooting webbing, but everyone knows that Peter made his own web shooters before he even became Spider-Man. His web shooters were more a nod to his advanced intellect than anything. That is, until he died and came back to life. When Parker returned, he brought with him some freaky powers, namely that he could shoot organic webs. Ew. This change in the comics happened as a result of a run-in with the Spider-Man villain the Queen, and seemingly came about to echo the changes made to the character in Sam Raimi's early 2000s Spider-Man films. And let's not forget when Marvel made organic webbing a thing in the Zombieverse with Zombie Spidey, but instead his webbing was made of veins. Ugh. Number 8. Anarchist. A member of the X-Force, Anarchist joined the group as a replacement member after the death of Slug. His powers include being able to produce electrochemical energy, which can be used to create powerful blasts. But how does he produce this energy? Why, through his acid sweat, of course. After all, what other way can you produce such energy? That's right, although the byproducts of his weird ability are pretty awesome, the ability itself, sweating acid, is pretty nasty. Like sweat wasn't gross enough by itself. Number 7. Marrow. You may have thought the prospect of Wolverine's powers were gross, bone claws and such, but they have nothing on Marrow's level of grossness. Marrow can control the growth of her skeleton at will. She uses this to grow bone through skin, giving herself bone versions of brass knuckles, armor, and even sometimes shooting her bones out like spikes. She also has an accelerated healing power and strong immune system. This is very necessary for her, as when she pushes bone through her skin, she's left with wounds. For a time, she was a member of the X-Men, although she originally was taken in and raised by the sewer-dwelling mutant group, the Morlocks. Number 6. Flemgem. For this hero, we turn to DC's superhero squad called Section 8, who fight crime in Gotham City. Section 8 is a misfit team of heroes that was brought together by alcoholic superhero Sixpack. Flemgem is one of the members. His gross powers involved, you may have guessed it, phlegm. Namely, he spits phlegm at enemies to blind them. Yeah. Pretty much all of the Section 8 have either weird or super gross powers. Number 5. Husk. Even with her ability being super cool and useful, it is still super gross. Husk is a mutant and member of the X-Men who can shed her skin to reveal a new composite layer underneath. For example, she sheds a layer of skin and underneath she has a fiery layer of skin. Mostly this just sounds heckin' awesome. However, there have been times when Husk has been mentally unstable, resulting in her having less control over her abilities, and shedding your skin involuntarily would be super disturbing. Not just the idea of it, but also when Husk sheds her skin involuntarily, it gets all patchy and creepy looking. Number 4. Maggot. So yeah. Also, why do mutants have to deal with all these gross powers? Like, geez, give them a break. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Maggot, be prepared to get grossed out. His powers involve two maggots that live in his stomach. Lovingly named Eenie and Meenie by Japheth, the South African mutant who originally believed he was dying of stomach cancer until Magneto revealed to him his true mutant powers. What are these mutant powers? The slugs that make up his digestive tract can very painfully exit his body through his abdomen and eat almost anything, and then very painfully return through his abdomen, passing on power and nourishment to him afterwards. As promised, Japheth has one of the strangest mutant powers and definitely one of the grossest. Number 3. Star Fox. Representing the more thought-based side of disturbing, disgusting powers and of disturbing, disgusting writing, we have Star Fox. His powers involve pheromones, seduction, and creepy smiling. Seriously, he creepy smiles at almost any chance he can get. And he tries to make people get busy with him. This power is disgusting. Why does it even exist for a superhero? Huh? Star Fox has used this gross power to try and seduce just about anyone and everyone. One thing I'll say for him is that he does not seem to discriminate. He uses it on friends, enemies, male, female. He even tried using it on the Hulk, which appropriately only seemed to make Hulk angrier. Fun fact, if you think Star Fox's seduction powers are gross, you should check out Bueno Excelente, who is another member of the DC Section 8 with Flemgem, and is also super problematic and icky. Number 2. Arm Fall-Off Boy. Later reintroduced as Splitter, Arm Fall-Off Boy takes us back to our regularly scheduled programming of visually disgusting powers. His superpower is he can remove his limbs and use them as weapons. Doesn't sound altogether useful, but sure sounds startlingly gross. Could you imagine rock climbing next to someone at the gym, but when they fall to the mats below, their arm is like still dangling from the rocks? Yuck. Fortunately in the comics, it appears as though Arm Fall-Off Boy's disconnected appendages appear cauterized and not overly gory, but what if that wasn't the case? Ugh. If DC ever ends up rebooting him to include a gorier version, this hero could be the first to have a slasher-style horror film franchise made about him. Number 1. Zeitgeist. Formerly known as one of the grossest superheroes, Zeitgeist is known for his acidic vomit powers. Yep, that's right. He fights evil by vomiting on it. Which, not going to lie, it does sound super effective. I know I wouldn't want to be vomited on. His powers manifested at one of the worst times possible, during a drunken makeout session on the beach. The woman he was making out with survived, but her face was burned by his acid vomit. And Zeitgeist, aka Axel, yep, his name is really Axel, is haunted by this memory, though he feels he might be less haunted if he could just remember her name. Wow. With a story and powers like this, I feel as though it is unsurprising that he was part of the X-Force team. He was even team leader when Anarchist, our number 8 on the list, was recruited. Though just because they both share gross acid powers does not mean they get along. Well, Nerd Squad, I hope you enjoyed getting gross with us, and I hope we didn't ruin your appetite too much. Are there any super disgusting powers that we missed that you would love to share? Feel free to do so in the comments below. And on your way, remember to smash that subscribe and click that thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure to click that bell notification so you never miss another nerdy list. If you could make your own gross superhero, what would their powers be? I feel like mine would involve like toenails or spitting. Maybe spitting toenails? Ugh. Ugh. Feel free to try and gross me out with your disgusting superpower ideas in the comments. Ugh. As always, this is Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight, reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube.